It being 3:01, calling this meeting of the Opioid Settlement Fund Committee to order. In attendance today, we have someone taking minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair Amy Barrett. Veterans Services Director Adam Gunn. Did I say that title correctly? Okay. Pete, do you have an official title with the town?
No.
Committee member at large, Pete Walters, and I'm Rick Collins, sitting in for Lindsay Wright, the chair, who's not available to be here today. Start off with discussion about the needs of town departments to support opioid education, training, outreach, and support. We've done this a little bit in the past. Is there anything new to bring up on this?
No, all of the departments had an opportunity, right? I apologize. All the departments had an opportunity to discuss their needs, right? Everybody came in, right? I think, if I remember correctly, and we did, yeah, none for our department either.
Okay. So do the board members feel we have a pretty good grasp on what the needs are going forward? Okay, great.
Yes.
Moving on to number 2, unless there's anything else to say about it. Discussion of wording for special town meeting warrant item. Just for background on this, just because the town has received money does not mean it is currently spendable. We need to pass a couple articles at town meeting to pull it out of, is it the free cash?
It's in the general fund right
General
now.
fund. And specifically put it into what type of account?
So it's complicated, but I can explain.
Sure. Just introduce yourself quickly.
Right. So my name is Andrew Nokon. I'm the finance director and town accountant. Originally, when the state started this program, they were going to put through special legislation to allow towns to spend this money as grant money. Unfortunately, none of the legislative fixes that they proposed ever made it through.
Mm-hmm.
So they're leaving it up to the towns to go through town meetings themselves to try and spend this money. So what we're going to do is take the settlement money and create an opioid settlement stabilization fund.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a separate stabilization fund where all the money will flow through.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, the town can vote to appropriate it to whatever purpose they would like to.
I mean, it's not that the town could spend it on road repairs.
Right,
Anyway.
it's the money is restricted, so we can
Yeah.
only spend it on opioid-related matters.
So this makes it just more cleaner, neater, and simpler. And
Right.
okay. So can you?
I have a question. When you say the town can spend, does that mean everything has to be voted at town meeting, or how would we have authorization to spend it?
Right. Every year at town meeting, there will be a vote to appropriate money out of the stabilization fund to a specific opioid purpose.
So I guess the question is, does every grant, kind of like, does it have to follow like the CPA model, where every grant program has to be approved by town meeting, or can it be a broader scope of language that says, for the purposes of funding programs as approved by the town manager and the Opioid Settlement Fund Committee?
We could
Just
do,
blank check.
we could do it either way. I think the CPA model works.
Okay.
Right now for fiscal '24, if you look up at the screen, the way we have it worded, it's just a simple warrant article. So $55,915 for the purpose of opioid remediation. So that's pretty broad.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as the committee figures out the specific, allocations that it would like to pursue, fleshing that out a bit more would be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the conversations we've had as a committee is the need for a little bit of flexibility if something was to pop. For instance, if all of a sudden we needed emergency Narcan supply, that instead of having to wait 9 months to go through a town meeting vote, that we'd like to be able to have to tap into the money and issue an almost an immediate grant.
That's exactly how it was.
Yeah.
It was put. As I understood it, we were looking for that kind of leeway a little bit, so that there wouldn't be a waiting period. If there were an
Okay.
immediate need through the departments,
Yeah.
if somebody had filled out an application and applied, if we were able to make a decision as collectively as a.
And what we can do is, you know, I think there's 4 outlined general purposes or buckets that the money can be used for. It's treatment, prevention, harm reduction, what the 4th one is. I mean, you can say, I think very carefully, specifically those 4 purposes as allocated by this board working with the town manager, and even put language that, you know, we'll report back to town meeting on an annual basis on what the money has been spent on or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right, in that case, then, we can use this general model instead of the
Okay.
CPA model.
Sounds great.
This is sufficient for
Okay.
that. And every town meeting, every year, you'll have an article just like the one shown there. You'll take the sum of money and appropriate it towards opioid remediation.
All right, so, one article, I'm kind of going in the reverse order, I think.
Right.
Is going to allow us to spend money this current budget season. This
Correct.
current budget year. We're gonna take the money out of the general fund, 55,000 out of the general fund, and put it into this special revenue fund.
It's not a special revenue
I'm
fund, it's
sorry,
just
you're
a.
right, that was a specific term.
It's just a warrant article, so it's
Yeah.
sort of like a capital item.
Okay.
Like you have X dollars to spend on a dump truck.
Great.
Now we have $55,000 to spend on opioid remediation.
Okay. And then, at special town meeting, we'll also create an opioid fund for fiscal year '25, which starts next July 1st.
That's correct. So the 2 articles, the first 2 up there,
Mhm.
the first one will create the opioid fund,
Mhm.
and the second one will redirect all the opioid settlement money into that fund.
In future years, so we don't have to do this every single year.
Correct. The only one you'll have to do is that last one that's
The
shown,
last one.
shown there.
Okay. All right. Any questions from board members?
I guess the only thing I'm in question of is, we get the 55,000 for FY '24, correct?
Correct.
If we want to spend 10,000 for this, we can just go ahead and do it?
Yes.
Okay,
As the
that's
committee
all.
votes.
Exactly, okay, that's what I really wanted to make sure of. Okay, thank you.
Is the committee okay if we skip ahead to number 4 and come back to item 3 in a moment? Is there a specific update that you have on status of funding?
Right, so, let me just scroll down. There's another article here.
This is about the Purdue funds being tied up a little bit.
This is about the 106,000 that we received in fiscal '23.
Okay.
So because we did not have the opioid stabilization fund set up,
Mhm.
these monies flowed through the general fund, and because they weren't appropriated, they are now free cash.
Free cash. Okay.
So the sum for fiscal '23 is about 113,000. And at the annual town meeting, so April of '24, we'll have a free cash appropriation for that amount just for opioid remediation. So that will spend the '23 money, and that will take care of that issue.
And we can't do it at the special town meeting because the books aren't fully reconciled?
Correct. The state needs to first certify free cash,
Free cash.
and that's done in the spring.
Okay. So just so for, again, people at home who maybe aren't used to this process, when the last fiscal year books close on June 30th.
June 30th.
We do all the accounting, we balance the books, the state then has to look at it, and whatever we have, well, not whatever, but a lot of what we have left over can be qualified as, if we have a profit, surplus, whatever you want to call it, gets turned into free cash. But that money isn't eligible until it's certified by the state, which is a process that takes a few months to happen.
Correct.
And that certification doesn't happen until the spring, the following spring?
Yeah, usually January-ish, but
Okay.
depends on how busy they are.
Did it used to be the fall? I feel like it used-
It depends on when the books close and whatnot. There's
Okay.
been a lot of late activity
Okay.
in recent years, so.
Okay. I feel like it was much more like October, November, but still, there's a lag there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll be able to spend the fiscal year that just closed on June 30th, had $113,000 that we did not spend. That money will become eligible to spend after town meeting. We won't have to wait until July 1st. It'll be as soon as we've made. How does that work?
I think traditionally, free cash appropriations are active July 1st.
Okay.
Unless we do some sort of, because we don't do the special town meeting anymore. And
Yeah.
if we did special town meeting, then it would be active. Well, let me look into that.
We can blame the town manager for that rule. All right.
We can, if we specify effective as of the date of the vote, it might be fine. But
Okay.
I need to figure out if we're able to do that. I think we can.
Does that make sense to everybody?
One last question, what happens if we don't spend the entire amount
The
during the
113?
FY?
It will carry forward.
Okay, so we don't have to spend it.
Right.
It'll be placed into the special fund, not the special fund, the,
No, so money from fiscal '25 onward will be in the special fund, and
Yeah.
if we don't spend it, it stays there.
Okay.
For fiscal '23 and fiscal '24, it's a separate line item in our accounting system, so.
okay, we can't put it into that fund with everything else after 25?
I mean, you could, but it's been appropriated and spendable.
Okay.
So it's easier to just leave it in that line item and then spend out of it until it's gone.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So it's
now I
not, it
get
doesn't get lost, it just
Yeah.
carries forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Any questions about that? All right. It's a little confusing. The municipal budgeting system's a little clunky at times, but
It would have been a lot easier if the state helped us and
Yeah.
allowed us to treat it as a grant, but we're not at that point, so.
Okay.
we can continue. I mean, wonder if any other towns are asking the state to do that still. I wonder if it's worth a letter to.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe
Okay.
it's worth just putting together a letter sending to our,
The legislative fix was supposed to be in the supplemental budget
Yeah.
that was approved this past summer, a couple months ago, and it wasn't included, so.
is there someone that can put together a letter for them? Okay.
I will.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Were there any other updates on funding status?
Oh, regarding that, once we vote to establish the stabilization fund, I believe we have to keep it for at least 3 years. And then at that point, you can vote to revoke it. So even if the state were to fix it later, we have the stabilization fund set up, so it's not really gonna help.
Okay.
So, once we do this, this is our solution.
All right. Along this line, I'm also reading something about the Purdue money coming into question a little bit, whether there'll be any special. Oh, the settlement is because they don't know the family needs to be held liable, or I think we haven't seen any delays with that money coming in to this point, right?
I can check with the treasurer's office.
Okay.
Purdue.
I think there was, the settlement was being put on hold until they figured out if the Sackler family needed to have some skin in the game instead of skinning away scot-free. But I don't know if that's affecting what we get versus something else. All right, anything else on this topic? All right, Andrew, thank you. Discussion and possible vote on process of accepting applications. Are we all feeling pretty good about this? Do we want to wait until we have everybody else? I hate to carry this up for another
I would be more
thing.
comfortable if we
Month,
did.
yeah. Okay. When is our next meeting, by the way? Because if you tell me it's October, I might feel differently.
It's,
Second.
Well, I can't really approve anything anyway, so.
Board meeting's the September 11th is our next scheduled one.
okay.
And then October, we're looking at October the 2nd.
All right, so we'll do in September. We have one in September?
Yes.
Okay.
September 11th?
All right.
September 11th, 3.
So whoever has all of that language will circulate it one more time with the idea of having one last final official really mean it vote in September.
The warrants have to be done before September 15th, is that it?
I don't know what the specific
But I don't think
date-
the application has to be on it, does it?
Okay.
Did you hear something different?
No.
Okay.
No, I just,
That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't, yeah, it shouldn't have to be.
So once we have a town meeting, the
Mhm.
money is appropriated,
Mhm.
October, we can start taking applications.
Perfect.
Makes a lot of sense in terms of timing.
Should be great.
All right. Not that I don't think you won't, but could you just send these minutes to the rest of the committee meeting
You
so
got
we
it.
know what the plan is?
you got it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. New items to be discussed? Anybody hearing anything on the streets? Okay.
No. No.
All right. Just trying to, I'm curious to get eventually a semi-regular update, just in terms of what we're seeing numbers-wise, issues-wise. Because I have no idea if we're seeing a decrease in overdoses, an uptick.
That's a good point.
It's a really good.
No
point.
idea where things are trending. Are we seeing, you know, a spike in alcohol poisoning, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe we can ask health department as well as police department for any sort of
Yeah.
guidance, and just even as a paragraph
I've got
Yeah.
that for action.
on a semi-regular basis.
And we can talk to the people that have the programs here in town,
Yeah.
see what they're saying.
Almost like an intelligence booklet,
Yeah.
our weekly intelligence booklet
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
All right, so next meeting is September 11th, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
At 3 PM?
3 PM.
And the one after that is October
October 9th.
9th,
3
also
p.m.
3 PM,
Okay.
here in Town Hall. And again, we'll be having agenda items on the special town meeting warrant. So for people who are interested in this topic, certainly another reason to go out to town meeting on the 14th. There's lots of things to discuss.
You know, it's Columbus Day, right? The 9th?
October
Is that
9th.
gonna make any difference?
Oh, it sure is.
It is going
It is.
to, actually.
It
let's
is.
take
We
that
want to
back.
move it until the 16th.
All right,
Instead
so let's
of-
get the next two meetings are September 11th and October 16th. Is that correct?
There we go.
All right. Anything else?
Can I just ask a quick question? How
course.
long do I have to get the meeting minutes to downstairs and then over to the library?
Oh, like 60 days.
Oh,
Right, Pete?
I just need a day or two. Okay.
Have that
You
one.
have
We have
45
to-
minutes.
Okay. I was like, how soon do I have to get back to the office?
Started 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Actually, the minutes have to be approved by us first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
but what is it
before
now?
we can go over, so before
But-
they go downstairs.
If I could ask you to send out draft minutes just in a week or so, just so
Yeah.
everybody else knows the schedule. we're
Perfect,
looking at,
yes,
would
please.
be
Yes.
Great.
You got it.
All right.
Okay.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh,
So-
actually, I'm sorry, there's a public comment. Is there anybody from the public who wants to make a comment? I don't believe there is.
Move to adjourn.
Any seconds? Motion to adjourn? Second from Amy. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.